Hello and welcome back to my channel, Simply Health PhD. I'm Bethany and today I'm going to be talking to you all about accepting your body through eating disorder recovery. Now, I remember when I reached my healthy weight and just feeling really crap about my body, and it's really hard trying to adjust and come to terms with actually being a healthy weight after you've been restricting and so thin for so long. So I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 tips for coming to terms with and accepting your body. But first, for those of you who haven't seen my first video, I suggest you probably go and check that out either now or after you finish watching this, because there I just explained to you a little bit about myself and what Simply Health PhD is all about. So let's begin. Okay, so tip number 1, throw away the scales. Now, I know this is really difficult to do, and if this is too difficult, then just put the scales somewhere that you're not going to be tempted to step on them. Scales, I found, are a really huge source of obsession, and I remember I had this massive list. It's in my ED diary, and every day almost, like, recording my weight. And the problem with weighing yourself every day is it's really not an accurate measurement. You see, your weight can fluctuate by up to 7 pounds a day, and so you can weigh yourself and you can really get hung up over that. I mean, especially for me and for girls, if you're due on your period, your weight really fluctuates and can increase just before your period because your body's retaining water and you're feeling a bit bloated. And so when you step on the scales and you see your weight fluctuating like this, it can be really disheartening, especially if you're trying really hard in your recovery and you see your weight one day going down, one day going up. And to be honest, a more accurate measurement is just by going how you feel and how you look, because the number on the scales, it doesn't matter, it's not important, and so many factors come into that number that it really doesn't make sense to be using it as a measurement of your worth and how you feel. I know many people who I used to train with as clients, they would come to me and they had been kind of sticking to their program and their plan for so long, and they would gain a pound or 2 and feel just crap and rubbish for like the rest of the day. They would really let it influence how their mood was, and it's really not worth it. So ditch the scales, because they are not your friend and they are not going to be helping you, especially after you've reached a healthy weight. Now, this is really hard because towards the end of a eating disorder, it's really common to go through a binge eating phase. Now, this is completely normal, and it's just where you have been restricting for so long and not allowing yourself to eat properly that you get to the end and you've reached a healthy weight, you're letting your body eat again, and so your body it's gone from famine to abundance. Now, because of this, it's gonna hold on to everything it can get just because it's afraid that it's going to go into famine again. Now, you may overshoot your ideal BMI, and that's absolutely okay, it's absolutely normal, and you will come back down to a normal weight again. And during this period, if you're going through this, getting rid of the scales is an absolute must. You can't let it control your anxiety and control how you're feeling, and it will have a huge impact on your recovery from that last little bit. So really just get rid of the scales and don't worry about it. It will all work out, it will all even out. The second thing, tip 1.2, is throw away all your old clothes. Now, I remember when it was kind of over a space of 2 years that I really kind of put on quite a bit of weight. I overshot my BMI and I was at my heaviest kind of weight. It wasn't far off the BMI, but obviously to me it was a huge problem. And I remember trying to kind of fit into the clothes that I was wearing during my recovery and just feeling absolutely rubbish because they didn't fit. And again, this really can add to you feeling like crap and rubbish and not accepting or loving your body. It can really be difficult. So just get rid of the clothes, put them in a huge bin bag, take them down to the charity shop and go shopping. Get yourself a whole new wardrobe and just really enjoy buying clothes and shopping for your new body, your new healthy body. And whilst you're there, do not worry about the size of the clothes that you're buying. Don't think, oh, I used to be this size and now I have to buy this size. It's so irrelevant. I mean, you can go into one shop and you can be a smaller size in one shop. You can go to another size and need a bigger size, and another shop where you need a smaller size. Don't worry about the tag. Your body is the size it is. Just buy clothes that fit it. And have fun in the process. Find clothes that make you feel good, find clothes that fit your body and your figure, and just, you know, treat yourself. You deserve it. You've done amazing. You've come this far in your recovery, and it's brilliant. It's an achievement, so well done. Okay, so on to tip number 2. Stop comparing yourself to others, and stop comparing yourself to your previous self, because it is a huge problem for your self-confidence and your self-worth. Now, I have only recently got over doing this. I would scroll through Instagram, social media, and I would look at other girls and I would think, gosh, you're so pretty, you're smart, you've got your life together, and here's me feeling like crap. And that is a huge blow to your self-worth and your confidence, your esteem. And the thing is, it's really not worth comparing yourself to others, because your life is different to theirs. You are a different person to them. And so instead of comparing and being upset that they have things that you don't, think about what you want. Really internalize. Think, what's important to you? What are your boundaries? Where would you like to see yourself in 10 years? And focus on how you're going to get there. And it takes time. It took me time. But I've kind of done it, and now instead of looking at other girls thinking, gosh, I wish I had what you had, I look at other girls and think, wow, that's great, you've got this and I've got this, which is different, but something I absolutely love and something I'm so passionate about. Now, I also said stop comparing yourself to your old self, and this was a huge problem for me when I had just reached my goal weight. I would look at pictures of myself when I was thinner, or when I had just been discharged. See, I was discharged at a very low BMI, kind of on the lower end of the spectrum. And I kind of had that in my head as the perfect size. That's the size I'd be happy at. But obviously going through that binge eating period and gaining a little bit of weight, overshooting a little bit, I felt really crap about myself, because I would look at a photo of myself when I was at the BMI I had as an ideal in my head, and myself now, and I just thought, oh my god, I'm such a fat pig, I have lost control. How could I go from having so much control over my body and my food to now just being out of control and getting bigger and bigger? And it's scary, because you don't know if it's going to stop. But don't worry guys, it does stop, and I will teach you how to stop it in another video. But for now, just remind yourself that thin is not healthy, and that you're much better off now as you are, with your body perhaps being slightly larger than you wanted it to, than you were when you were thin. Think how miserable and unhappy you were. I remember I was cold, I was tired, I was hungry, and now, yes, although I was over my ideal weight, I was a lot happier and a lot healthier, and I had so much more energy to do fun things. Now, tip number 3, and it kind of coincides with tip number 2, is just allow your body to go through that period of overshooting your healthy weight. Now, I know it's really difficult to do, and giving up control and care is something that goes kind of against everything that most of our personalities are. Normally people with an eating disorder are very kind of strict and regimented. We like control, we're perfectionists. And so giving up control over how we look is really difficult, but it's absolutely vital for overcoming this point in your recovery. Your body has a set point weight, and it doesn't want to be overweight, it doesn't want to be obese, and equally it doesn't want to be thin and anorexic. It has a perfect balance where it can function and maintain health optimally. So after this little period, it will balance out, it will even out again, if you trust and listen to your body. If you listen to it when it's hungry and you feed it, if you listen to it when it's full and it's had enough, stop eating, and your weight will balance out. And equally, lose the control over what you're eating as well. Just listen to your body. What do you fancy? Whether that's an apple, and don't say you fancy the apple just because it's in low calories, or, you know, a big old double cheeseburger and chips. Regardless of what it is, if that's what you want, then eat it, if that's what your body's telling you it needs. And if you keep listening to your body like that, if you keep eating intuitively, it will, your weight will come to a set point. And I mean, I have been maintaining the same weight now for about a few years. I mean, I don't know, as I said, I obviously followed tip number 1 and I threw away my scales a few years ago, so I have absolutely no idea what I weigh. But I go by how I feel and how my clothes fit, how I look, and I know that I've roughly been maintaining the same weight for the last few years, eating as intuitively as I can and kind of maintaining an exercise regime that I'm happy with, and that allows me to be flexible. And you know, I'm happy, I like my body, and from that point where you've kind of found a set point, you can then start to work on kind of getting to accept and like your body even further. And I absolutely recommend that if you haven't already, read this book by Dr. Linda Bacon. Absolutely amazing book, and it explains everything in there about how your body will just, if you allow it to eat intuitively, will come to kind of a nice, stable, steady way that you can kind of live and be healthy. I really, really found this book absolutely useful for kind of moving on in that last little bit of recovery. Okay, now tip number 5, my last tip, and a tip that I'm still currently working on, and that is exercise. Now, for those of you who have struggled with an exercise problem throughout your recovery, or those of you who have absolutely shied away from exercise because you're afraid of what it can do, hear me out, okay? Because I had such a huge problem with exercise throughout my eating disorder recovery, and it was to the point where I was so obsessive, I would literally get up in the morning, I'd be on the go, and I would not sit down until it was time to go to bed in the evening. And it was a massive, massive problem that prevented me from kind of reaching a healthy weight a lot sooner. And even after my eating disorder, I started picking it up a lot more seriously, and I started going to the gym and exercising for like 2 hours a day and trying to restrict my calories to as minimum as I could. And over time, I've learnt to obviously increase my calories and reduce my exercise time and make it, I mean, now I only exercise for about 45 minutes at a time. I'm kind of learning to not stick to a program and just let my body do what it feels on the day. So I go into the gym and I think, what do I feel like doing today? And that's what I do. But I'm learning to reduce the control with that still and not let it interfere with my life and things like external factors, if they prevent me from going to the gym, not getting upset, things like that. But when I say to you to start exercising as a way to help you accept your body, I really, really think that exercise helped me come to terms with my body. I mean, I moved away quite a while ago from looking at it as something that's changing my aesthetic appearance to something that is making me stay fit and healthy and well. Now, exercise actually really has very little effect on your aesthetics unless you're literally training like a bodybuilder and eating a ridiculous amount of calories. And believe me, it's really, really hard to do that. But what exercise can do for you, it can keep you really fit and well and help you maintain really good health. There are so many benefits to exercise, and if any of you follow me on Instagram, I post loads and loads about the benefits. But for me, it's more about, I'm going for a run, not to burn calories, but to improve my cardiovascular system. I'm lifting weights, not to change the shape of my body, but because it's so satisfying when I can lift a really, really heavy weight, a weight that's probably heavier than my own body weight. And that for me is really satisfying, and I love it. I genuinely love it. And so for those of you who are you've reached your healthy weight, you're post-recovery, you're trying to figure it all out, I really do recommend kind of getting active. Now by that, I don't mean that you need to start going to the gym 6 days a week with a strict regimented program. I mean, you need to start moving your body in ways that make you feel good. So for example, I've recently gone back to my childhood hobby of ballet. I absolutely love dancing and I love moving my body to the music. And so going back to ballet has been a real big source of happiness for me. And I recommend, even if it's just going out for a walk when you feel like it, if it's starting up a dance class, if it's going back to an old childhood hobby again, if it's going swimming, if it's, I don't know, going hiking in the mountains, do it, do whatever feels good to you. But don't go in thinking I have to do it, because there's a huge difference between I must and I want. Move because you want to move. Don't do it because you're forcing yourself to do it, because that's when it becomes a problem. Especially if you're only recently recovered from an eating disorder, the last thing you want to do is relapse with an exercise problem. But if you utilize it and you use it well, it can be a huge, huge source of help for you in moving past this stage. Yeah, I think those are my 5 tips. So just to recap, get rid of the scales, they're not your friend. Get rid of the old clothes, go shopping and treat yourself. Tip number 3, stop comparing yourself to others and stop comparing yourself to how you used to be. You're a different person now, move on. Tip number 4, remind yourself that being thin is not healthy and you're much better off as you are now. And don't worry, because regardless of your size, if you start eating intuitively, listening to your body, you will find balance again. Tip number 5, get moving and living actively, but don't make it a priority, don't make it a task, just do it flexibly and again intuitively. Listen to your body, move how it wants to move, and you will really reap the benefits. Get moving in a way that you want to move, that makes you happy, that makes you feel good, and that makes you feel empowered about your body. So thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. Those were my 5 tips for accepting your body after recovery. If you are going through a problem like this at the moment, please feel free to share your experience in the comments below. Any tips that you found that perhaps I haven't mentioned, let me know, because the more we can share advice, the better. And remember, if you liked this video, please support me by subscribing. I also have an Instagram channel at simplyhealthphd where I post more videos on exercise, food and well-being. I'm Bethany, thanks for watching, and I hope you come back again soon.